Well, good morning. It is Tuesday. It's the second day of November for 2021. All that said, just in case you haven't taken a look yet, at the calendar or what time it is, you're just getting up, you're late, you're sleeping in. I don't blame you. I wish that I could do the same on many days, but that's just not the case. Grab a cup of coffee, a little bit of tea. Maybe you're at that point where you're past coffee now, whatever it takes, a bottle of water. We just want to get you caught up on what's happening this morning. By the way, I'm Dan Gresham. This is my house, hence we call it Dan's At Home Update. And is no way is this to be considered a newscast. It is not. It's a casual conversation between you and I, a community that we created almost 2 years ago here on Facebook in the middle of a pandemic. But we thought, well, let's stay in touch. We'll continue to communicate. Turns out to be a good way for me to be in touch with you and you to be in touch with me. How can that work? Well, obviously, I can talk straight to you here on YouTube and on Facebook, but you can talk back to me by posting up a comment at the bottom of the screen, just like you would any other Facebook post. You can say good morning. You can tell me where you're watching. You can tell me what's on top of your mind. All those things, fair game. I see them all. They pop up right in front of me. I am my own director at home. So I control what happens. For example, I can see that Carol's up this morning. Hi, Carol. Mary Wolford is up. Nina is here. Carlene and Kim, who is at work. And I like that, Kim. I like people who are at work staying informed with what's going on. But you see what I'm saying? I can see what you're doing. So please feel free. Send me a comment this morning. I like to hear from you. I like to know what's going on. Before we jump into full-blown news headlines this morning, I just a comment real quick. I don't know about you. Tech support can be a real problem. Let me come back over here for a second. Tech support. In the old days, right, you would call somebody and they would answer and they would walk you through the process. Oh, Mr. Gresham, what's happening? What is your issue? How can I help you? How can I be of service to you? How many times now, when you make the phone call, that you find yourself on hold forever? 20 minutes later, and if you're like me, I mean, I'm doggedly going to stay there. I made the phone call. I made the effort. I need the help. And 20 minutes later, I'm listening to the same music going over and over. And you finally just kind of go, okay, I'll bail. I always think that's got to be part of the process, right? If we put them on hold long enough, eventually they'll bail on us and we won't have to deal with it. Secondly, is when you get someone on tech support and you can't understand what they're saying and they can't understand what you're saying. So I say that because I'm not going to show the brand, but I'm coming. I might accidentally. I just got off the phone right before we started here on Facebook. Battery replacements. I bought these tools and the batteries lasted about, 6 months and they stopped working. So I called them. I just want to give, again, a shout out to them for being on top of their game. They did not put me on hold forever. Immediately, after a couple of times around, maybe a couple of minutes, they say, would you like us to call you back when we have somebody available? Sure. Push 1. Go on about my business. 3 minutes later, phones ring. It's them. How can we help you? I said, well, I'm doing a follow-up. I ordered some, replacements for these batteries under the warranty program. The lady said, oh, well, let me look for you. And she was very courteous. So again, thumbs up to them. And listen, if you're a retailer, this is so smart to me. When I told her what was going on, she goes, oh my, the person misordered your batteries. They never put your order through. I'm sorry for your inconvenience. We don't have any of those specific batteries, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you an additional battery that is not a high voltage, but at least you would have enough to be able to do your yard work. I was like, wow, now that's the way it should be done, right? Give a little bit and you've won my brand, has won my loyalty. I'm coming back to you because you took care of me. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. I know there are a lot of people that are always trying to take advantage of any way they can, of businesses and retailers. But there are also a lot of us who are just good, hardworking people, who are having issues and, we're just looking for a little service, something to follow up on. All right, let's go back and see who else is at work this morning. Oh, Kim's in Beaumont. Carol says, like the tie. Why? Thank you, Carol. Also, Susan Guidry says, good morning to everybody. And what else is going on? Oh, Carlene says, remarkable. I agree, remarkable that they would replace the batteries and that they would talk to me so quickly because good Lord knows I've been on the phone with some people for 45 minutes. And at the end of an hour, you're more frustrated than you were when you started. Not only do you have the problem with whatever it is you're calling tech support about, but now you have the problem of dealing with people. All right, let's talk about what's going on this morning. Let's get you a look at what 5 things you need to know. Sorry about my reflective classes. 5 things you need to know this morning that are going to be going on in the world around you. So let me get rid of this and bring up this. And let's start. Did you know today is election day? It certainly is. It is the first Tuesday of November, which makes it election day. You may be saying, there's an election going on? There's nothing in my city to vote on. Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure in your county. We have on our website, kfdm.com, locations. You can go and see where you can cast your ballots in Jefferson County, Hardin County, Orange County, Chambers County. And if you're in another county and you have a question, Tyler County, call. All you have to do is call the county courthouse. They can tell you where all the voting. There are 8 state propositions. That's why I'm saying everyone has something to vote on today. If you live in the state of Texas and you're a registered voter, you have the opportunity to do so. We talk so much about national this and national that, to the point that all we want to talk about is national news. These are the things that really you have the ability to have influence on. Issues that are being voted on in your county and in your state. So what are they? Well, let's take a look. Proposition 1 would amend the state constitution to authorize professional sports teams, charitable foundations to conduct rallies at rodeo venues and include professional association sanctioned rodeos in the definition of professional sports teams. You're probably going, really? I said the same thing when I read it the first time. Proposition 2 would amend the state constitution to authorize counties to issue bonds to fund transportation and infrastructure projects in blighted areas. Prohibit counties from allocating more than 65% of property tax revenue annually to repay bonds. Prop 3 would amend the state constitution to prohibit the state and any political subdivision from enacting a law, rule, or order or proclamation that limits religious services or organizations. This kind of comes from COVID-19. Proposition 4 would change the eligibility requirements for a judge of the Supreme Court, a judge of the Court of Criminal Appeals, a justice of the court, or district court. Proposition 5, add a section to the state constitution that authorizes state commission on judicial conduct. Proposition 6 would amend the state constitution that state residents of nursing facilities, assisted living, state-supported living centers have the right to designate an essential caregiver that may not be prohibited from visiting the resident. Number 7 would amend the state constitution to allow the legislature to extend a homestead tax limit for surviving spouses of disabled individuals. And number 8 would amend the state constitution to allow legislature to apply homestead tax exemption for surviving spouses of members of the military who were killed in the line of duty. So again, everybody has something to vote on today, if you so choose. Now, in other areas, there are more going on. Bevel Oaks, they're electing a new mayor. I think they also, if I remember right, have maybe a ward race going on. In Groves, Ward 3 seat is up for grabs. Also, they have a couple of propositions there, one for collective bargaining for firefighters, another for binding arbitration. There are also same ballots are also propositions on the ballot in Port Neches. While in Hampshire Fannett, the school district has a bond issue. It's been much talked about, $1.4 million to build a new concession stand at the stadium, We've covered this story pretty extensively on Channel 6. And in Hardin County, several key issues. They have a proposition for a sales tax to build 2 new stations for Hardin County Services District 1. Hardin County Emergency Service District 5 is also asking for some help. And in Lumberton, voters will decide on Proposition A, which would allow the municipal utility district, the MUD district, to spend $74 million on a new waste treatment facility. Again, all those things on the ballots today on the second day of November. And now what I want you to do, and what I think will be interesting, is to watch tonight and tomorrow morning when we have election results to see just how many people actually went and voted, either on the state propositions or on the local propositions. It will be small. The numbers will be small. I would suggest minute, especially in the state propositions. But again, if it's a presidential election, we all turn out, we want to go vote. But why is it we wouldn't vote for things that actually affect us here in the state of Texas? Because a lot of people say these propositions are silly, or these propositions have no merit. But at the same time, probably 90% of them, I'm not going to say 90, let's say 70%, haven't even read the propositions or had no idea there were even propositions they could vote on today. But it is true. So again, do what you feel like is the right thing to do. Real quickly, want to get through a couple other things this morning before we run out of time. Also on KFDM, with those 5 stories you need to know about. COVID hospitalization rate now below 5% in Trauma Region R, that is including Jefferson and the 8 surrounding counties. It's, gosh, when's the last time it was below 5? I couldn't tell you. It's been a long time. But and the good news is the number of new cases. You can go and get all these numbers. They're all right there, listed on KFDM.com. We only have one person on a ventilator in all of Trauma Region R at this moment. One person. That is such a drastic decline from where we were. Also this morning, BISD putting some new policies in place. We told you about the issues that they were having with threats, among other things. Apparently, some of those coming from cell phones on campuses. So new policies in place at Westbrook High School. And it basically says students cannot use their phones from 7:20 a.m. to 2:40 p.m. from the beginning of school to the end of school, unless they're at lunch. And if you don't have a high schooler, you probably even would be shocked that people can even that they can even carry their phones into the school, much less use them throughout the course of the day. But that's the society that we live in. We now have elementary kids, who are carrying cell phones. I'm not saying every kid, but I'm just saying it's out there. And certainly by high school, the kid who doesn't have a phone would be an exception rather than the young person who does have a phone. But now BISD trying to put limits on them. It'll be interesting to see how well that works. All right, story number 4 that you need to know about today is so many things COVID-19 affected, right? But many of them we don't think about. Here's one that maybe escaped you. The fact that Canadians who for decades have spent winter migrating south to get out of the, Canadian cold blast, have been stuck there for 2 years. They haven't been able to leave. So all those snowbirds that like to go down to the valley here in Texas can return. Same thing in Florida and other parts of the country, because the Biden administration is now allowing vaccinated people to enter the U.S. by land. So a lot of Canadians this morning packing up those campers, going to cross that bridge into the U.S. All right, and finish up with a reminder, do or die for the Houston Astros. Houston Chronicle this morning talking about the Astros pitching options. Luis Garcia will take the mound first, the rookie. Of question is, will he be on or will he be off? For the Astros pitchers, they have been either or, hot and cold. Seems like nowhere in between. So again, tonight, just after 7 o'clock, Minute Maid, do or die. It's an elimination situation for the Astros. They have to win out. They don't have any choice. They want to stay in this one, and frustrate all those people who are diehard Braves fans, or just don't like the Astros, prefer to throw aspersions at them and call them cheaters. Which I think by now, most Astros fans, most of us, and I count myself among them, and my wife, we're Astros fans, have been for as long as we can remember. We're over it. We're over it. But now it's kind of like they take pride in being vilified. The Astros, kind of like, oh, okay, you're going to call us that? We'll show you what we can do. Of course, they're going to have to prove it now for sure, because their back is against the wall. So the question becomes, can the Astros find the offense? And can they also find a pitcher who can go more than one inning? And for Atlanta, they've got a rested pitcher. Max Fried's going to come in tonight. Didn't do very well in his first appearance in the series. Let's hope it doesn't happen tonight. Let's see if the Astros can rough him up. Again, that all starts shortly after 7 o'clock on Fox 4. So be sure to check out the game. And that pretty much does it for me this morning. I'm going to get out and get some things done. Now that I know batteries on the way, I can get out and do some yard work. So again, don't forget, lots of ways for you to keep up with what's going on. Of course, we'll also have election coverage for you tonight at 10. We'll try to get some of the early voting as well as soon as it comes in. But you can follow along on Facebook, KFDM News. You can also check out Twitter, Morning TV Dan. And of course, if you're not a big Facebook fan, you can always go to YouTube. We also post these at-home updates there. Dan's at Home. You can subscribe and you'll be able to see the updates when they are posted. All right. Go out and make it a terrific day. Look forward to seeing you bright and early tomorrow morning as we get our week started. Make it a good one.